looking for a way to return to the time when everything was easy to learn. Don't know when it started to get so serious, building up an illusion of a world full of trust, moving on when everything's gone. It's hard to be strong. Confusion in my mind, no way to turn back time. My soul in need of remedy, don't even know the enemy. When I feel out of touch, can't seem to get enough, hiding away from everyone. I don't know where I'm coming from. It feels like it never happened, maybe just a dream. Could it be my imagination running out of steam? All I know is every time I see you, I feel insecure. I'm unable to find the words, how can I be sure? I'm holding on when everything's gone. I gotta be strong. Confusion in my mind, no way to turn back time. My soul in need of remedy, don't even know the enemy. When I feel out of touch, can't seem to get enough, hiding away from everyone. I don't know where I'm coming from. I fail to see right in front of me. There's a way I know. Confusion in my mind, no way to turn back time. My soul in need of remedy, don't even know the enemy. When I feel out of touch, can't seem to get enough, hiding away from everyone. I don't know where I'm coming from. Confusion in my mind, no way to turn back time. My soul in need of remedy, touch, can't seem to get enough.
I get to it first, I got you mad. I guess that when I get to it last. Get it that I'm never going back. Get it that I'm never going back. I get to it first, I got you mad. I guess that when I get to it last. Get it that I'm never going back. Get it that I'm never going back. Going up, going up, going up, going up, going up, going up. Get it that I'm never going up, going up, going up, going up, going up, going up, going up. Get it that I'm never going. I get to it out the runway. Different incomes, not one way. Living life on a one way. I knew this would happen someday. You can ask my day one day. Cloudy days turn to sun rays. Only way to way up way. Know my way, know my feng shui. I get to it first, I got you mad. I guess that when I get to it last. Get it that I'm never going back. Get it that I'm never going back. I get to it first, I got you mad. I guess that when I get to it last. Get it that I'm never going back. Get it that I'm never going back. Going up, going up, going up, going up, going up, going up. Get it that I'm never going up, going up, going up, going up, going up, going up, going up. Get it that I'm never going. Different summer, different car keys. I'm the life of the party. Might buy a bike like a Harley. Totally do so gnarly. God got me, can't harm me. I got armor and an army. Battle scars, battle smartly. Just forever like a Sharpie. I get to it first, I got you mad. I guess that when I get to it last. Get it that I'm never going back. Get it that I'm never going back. I get to it first, I got you mad. I guess that when I get to it last. Get it that I'm never going back. Get it that I'm never going back. Going up, going up, going up, going up, going up, going up. Get it that I'm never going up, going up, going up, going up, going up. Get it that I'm never going. 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 Never going.
What is up, everybody?
What's going on,
Generation
guys?
Orange. What's
For
up?
sure. What's up, Sean? How you doing, man?
Man, I'm great. I am phenomenal. I am as good as I have been in a while. I feel good. I look good.
There you
Look, I'm wearing the colors again. No more just straight up Surge merch every week. I'm proud enough to wear the Dynamo kit again.
There you go, man. I mean, obviously, big news around Dynamo camp and all that stuff. Huge change, a major change that a lot of people didn't think was going to happen anytime soon. But before we get to all that, man, welcome everybody to Generation Orange. Appreciate everybody who's here. I see everybody on the chat on Twitch and YouTube, man, guys. Shout out to all of you. I know that the U.S. Open Cup final is on right now, but we have enough mobile devices that we can do both, guys. So let's get on. Let's get on. Let's get active. This is the Dynamo show, and obviously, big news. Nagamura out. Hashtag Nagamura out somehow worked. I don't know how, but it did out of nowhere. Paulo Nagamura is officially out as a Dynamo head coach. He did not last the whole season. When he left, the Dynamo were left on the bottom of the table. And, obviously, I know from your standpoint, Sean, I know it's good riddance, goodbye, and, sayonara. From my standpoint, I mean, obviously, it's just, I think he was given a tough task, being a first-time head coach and all that stuff. But, that comes along with the gig. You know, if you apply for something, you look forward to whatever kind of obstacles might come within that position that you're applying for. And, you know, we can make all the excuses in the world that, you know, the team is this and the team was that and X, Y, Z, but you knew what you had coming in, and you and your staff were not able to accomplish anywhere close to the goals that front office and ownership wanted. So this is where we're at today. Sean, obviously, I know, you know, you have been Naga out for a while now. I've been as well, but obviously, you know, with everything being said all through the media and through the front office, you know, having his back, obviously, as any franchise would. You know, I didn't think it was gonna be anything that would happen, and if it did happen, I thought it would be in the offseason. But this took me completely for a shock. So, Sean, tell me, what were you thinking as soon as you found out that, you know, Paulo was officially out?
First of all, it was pinch me, is this actually happening? I'm not even gonna lie. Like, I was kind of in the same boat that I think a lot of people were. Like, okay, this doesn't seem possible, doesn't seem real. You know, to your point, everything that Pat and Ted and others have said from the organization, it, you know, really indicated he was going to get another season. To have a chance for Pat and Asher to work to get players that he actually wanted. Although I can't imagine that a coach wouldn't want players like a Sebas or an Ache on their squad. But even with that said, you know, it was still. No. I knew Glenn wasn't hacked. That's why you didn't see any of those tweets coming out. But let's just say that I knew before Glenn tweeted it. Let's say that.
Sean, the insider. I
wasn't hurting to know that it was real when it was announced, even though everybody thought it was crazy. But no, seriously. I mean, I was just, when I first heard it, I was like, this isn't real. There's no possible way. And then, you know, it was just not much longer after that. I mean, it was just a while, but not much longer. Like, I had to sit on this. Y'all don't even know. I was sitting on being happy for like a few hours. So, but yeah, that was some crazy stuff. No lie. You know, but yeah. So once I absorbed the news, you know, once I had a chance to kind of realize that, yeah, this is really happening, and really that moment came. Not when Glenn tweeted it, but once once everybody nationally started picking up and running with it, right? When The Athletic is running with it, when guys like Paul Tenorio and Sam Stjeskal are running with it, you know, these guys that you look up to and look at as media people, and you're just like, yeah, they know, you know, they know. And so when they were running with it, I'm like, no, this is legit, like on the level legit. And so that was when I realized, yeah, it was real. But then, you know, I was thinking about it, and I'm like, why would they do this right now? What sense does that make, right? Like, we've talked about, there are a few good reasons that you do something like this right now. Number one, you got to start your coaching search now, because if you don't start your coaching search now, and you are not planning to keep Nagamura at the end of the season anyways, you are wasting 5 to 6 weeks, 7, 8 weeks if you count playoffs, 9 weeks if you count playoffs, actually. You're wasting 9 weeks of your effectively of your timeline to you know, coddle a coach that you know you're not going to keep around anyways. Go ahead, Mark.
No, I mean, it's weird to see the club be proactive, you know.
And not settle for mediocrity,
and not settle for the mediocrity that we were dealing with during this time period, you know, because like you said, I mean, even though I thought, you know, if the possibility of Nagamura being gone after one season was going to happen, I thought it was going to be during the off season, which would have been okay. You know, obviously, you know, that would give them plenty amount of time to go find for a coach or whatever, this and that, you know. But, you know, but if they had gone with the notion of starting with him being the coach next season and then having the same results, and then like a month or two into the new season, canning him and putting someone in the interim basis, I thought that would have been a whole another 12 months of mediocrity for the Dynamo, and another season of why the club can't succeed, another round of excuses from the club and the front office, and another just a more disappointment after, almost a decade of disappointments from the club. So the fact of the matter is that, that they went this route. I'm happy about it. I'm excited about it because it's just showing that they're willing to eat crow. They're willing to admit their mistakes and they're willing to move on from them. Because look, we all make mistakes in life and work and whatever category you want to categorize. We all make mistakes, right? How long do you want to linger knowing that you made a mistake? That's the bigger mistake in my opinion. And the fact that Pat and obviously Ted, I'm sure he had his input in this, said that, you know what? Naga, he tried everything he could, but he's just not the right guy for this position, whatever. Thank you for your service. And here's your pink slip. I'm happy. I'm happy that they did this, man. Because like you said, now it gives them a whole almost 3 months worth of time to go really look into this coaching search, to really interview whatever candidates. I think Pat said that he had like 60 applications within the last 72 hours, which, who knows what those names could be on.
Wait, hold on. You just said something. I want you to think about this for a second. How long have they been getting applications for? The last 72 hours, right?
Yeah.
When did this news break?
I don't know. I can't remember.
It was yesterday.
I was away.
Yesterday is less than 72 hours. That's all I'm saying. Yeah. Yesterday was less than 72 hours. That's all I'm saying.
But what I'm saying is, it's there's interest in the club and there's interest from obviously agents that represent coaches and things like that. And that's always good to see. 60 applications in the last 72 hours. I mean, that's a lot. Like I said, I don't know what kind of quality or what kind of names or prestige are on those applicants that have submitted their name in the hat for this to be the future Dynamo coach. Well, I guess we'll see in due time. But it's good. Clean slate. Obviously, we've been talking about it, Sean, the last few episodes about, once the season is over, we can dump all the players that we don't want, not pick up these options of these players that we don't really need and start brand new, building a new foundation. And now it's truly that. New coach, new players, bigger budget, new stadium, new mesh seats. Just a whole new vibe for the Dynamo for 2023 and the upcoming season, and I'm here for it. We've been here for all doing all this misery. You might as well make it to once we get to greener pastures, hopefully, because obviously, everything doesn't go as according to plan as we want to all the time. But Sean, obviously, I know that this show is going to be 95% majority talking about, coaching candidates and obviously the lackluster job that Nagamura did. But before we go with all of that, let me get to the poll question of the day.
Yeah, hit me with that poll question of the day.
So obviously, with the Nagamura era over in Houston, if you were Pat Onstad, what kind of coach are you hiring next? The choices were top MLS assistant, a national team coach, a coach with European experience, a coach with more Liga MX MLS experience, I guess, from this hemisphere. And with 47% of the votes, almost half of the 64 votes that were tallied, people have gone with a coach from MLS Liga MX. It's interesting. And in second place, a coach with European, obviously, with a European pedigree. So, obviously,
what percent was the European pedigree?
32%.
So
it wasn't that far off.
Let's say roughly 80% of people want a coach that has head coaching experience. Not necessarily just in MLS, but at least head coaching experience.
Yes. Somebody experienced and not doing this for the first time, not coming from a youth system or development league or whatever. They want somebody with some knowledge who's really comfortable with their style of play, who what kind of style of play they bring into the table, what kind of philosophy they bring, and basically just have some kind of resume, not just a PowerPoint. We need a resume with some accomplishments on there. But yeah, with that being said, Sean, I mean, obviously, I mean, the last couple of hours, especially for this day. I mean, I've been looking at available coaches, seeing what's out there, whatever. Obviously, a lot of names been thrown, more certain names more often than others.
There's a couple that I know of that have been thrown out there.
For sure. And and like I said, we have, I mean, an hour and a half to go through all these candidates, all these names, and things like that. I just like. And for you guys in the YouTube and the Twitch chat, I mean, obviously leave the names of the people you want to hear about, or why, let us know why you think that guy's the candidate, and, if you have a wild name out there, just throw it out there, man. Let's see, man, who knows? But think about it, Sean. You look at a club like Dynamo, right? Who, like I said, I'm surprised with them being proactive with this firing, because it shows to me that this front office and this leadership group is not going to deal with mediocrity, which is great, because I mean, you see across the pond, Chelsea, one of the biggest clubs in the world, just get rid of their coach and Tuchel, who actually won them a Champions League, won them a FIFA World Cup, won them a Super Cup. But they weren't going to deal with the mediocrity. I mean, they were off to a bad start. The vibes were wrong, or whatever was going on. Obviously, we don't know anything that's going on, but they cut ties, man. Big clubs, they're not scared to move on and go forward, because that's what they're meant to do. That's what they're supposed to do. The number one objective and priority of any big club is to win. Winning cures all, regardless of what's going on. And the club, behind the scenes, business wise, X, Y, Z. If the club is winning, everything else can be dealt with at whatever time, right? But obviously, we haven't had a winning culture for almost a decade, Sean. So there's a magnifying glass on this new ownership group, unfortunately for them, and every move that's spoken about. Every candidate that was an almost candidate or an almost hire, or every player who we could have almost got, or every player that we missed on, it's going to be magnified, because what if that would have been that right coach? What if that would have been the right player to turn us around? And it's an unfortunate thing, and a lot of pressure for a group of front office members to be upon, but they knew what they signed up for. You don't sign up for this. You don't sign up for a position without knowing what you're going to get yourself in for. And they knew what they were getting themselves into. So, Sean, I mean, I'm ready to hear what you got up your sleeve, who you want. What do you think the next move should be for Pat? How long should they take in the interviewing process is my question, first and foremost, because obviously, yes, they do have a lot of time before, World Cup and all this stuff, whatever. So a lot of coaches can become available throughout the next couple of months or whatever, or a couple of weeks. But how soon do you want this done?
I'm willing to give it 60 to 90 days, 2 to 3 months. That's still before, the offseason really gets going, because you still got playoffs, and playoffs are going to be a little ways. You've got World Cup. World Cup is going to be a while. So 60 to 90 days, I think, as long as you have one effectively, in position. Maybe they can't announce it for various reasons, but someone effectively in the position who's agreed verbally or otherwise, by mid-December, that gives you a couple of weeks to really start with the December, stuff that you need to get done. And there's a lot of things that'll still have to happen after these 5 weeks of the season that are left, conclude, the final 5 matches of the season. Everything from, you've got to figure out what players are you potentially going to keep who are on expiring contracts, what players are you not going to keep. Once you kind of have that idea, and I think, to be honest, I don't think they're going to wait for a new head coach to determine who they're keeping and not keeping. I think the plan is to probably not keep any of, the ones that they can effectively ship out.
So with that being said, Sean, obviously, a shout out to Kenny Bundy for being promoted up to interim head coach for the Dynamo. He's done a great job with the Dynados team, obviously with them qualifying for the playoffs. But so, with that being said, now that Kenny's the main guy, and obviously going forward, that we're looking to see basically players who are going to be here for the next year. Do we start playing the youth? I mean, are we playing the youth
Yeah.
now?
So
Because
here's the thing. I'm going to piggyback on that question, and I'm going to answer it by responding with the kind of leak of information that came out. Part of it came out as what Pat said last night on Glenn Davis's Soccer Matters show. Part of the conversation that Don Garber had was how this club and in general MLS has begun to be able to develop, grow, and then sell players on, young players on from their academy systems. And there's a strong concern that the Dynamo as a club have not done that yet anywhere near the level of any of the other clubs in MLS. But not only that, they're not even bringing players into play at the MLS level. And there are players within those ranks that deserve minutes. Now, I'm not saying they deserve starts yet, but, and I've said this on the show before, and I'll say it again, and any head coach coming in, I hope to God, if I ever get a moment to talk to them, they're going to listen to me say this. But the fact is, if you don't give kids a chance to play and to understand just how much they need to improve, they're not going to be able to adapt to the senior game. They're not going to be able to adapt to the higher quality and the higher pace and faster pace. There's a reason that Philly introduces their players so young into the process. It's 15, 16, 17. Same thing with LA Galaxy and LAFC now, and all in Seattle even. You're seeing 15-year-olds in Seattle that are playing. In Portland, even to some extent, clubs that have good, deep academies are bringing players in at younger and younger ages, even if they're not 100% ready for the pace or the physicality. Because the fact is you really don't know how they're going to adapt to it until you put them in that position. And a practice is not the place to do that. A practice is not going to be the same as a game level situation. And putting them in US Open Cup is not the same as a true MLS level situation. And the reason I say that is because you're also surrounding them with crappy players, because you're using your depth players. You're not starting your starters in US Open Cup. So it's not like you're giving them the tools around them to actually succeed. If anything, you're giving them the tools around them to intentionally fail the process. And that is the reason that I think a lot of our youngsters have not progressed, is because they have not had a clear path in terms of a coach who's willing to give them minutes, especially sub minutes late in matches. It doesn't matter if you're up or down or whatever, and give them an opportunity to just go out there and have 5, 10, 15 minutes consistently, and then show that, hey, I can adjust to this level. And then if they don't, then yeah, you send them back after 4 or 5 matches, but not after one match. And that's what we've seen and let's be real, Palomino hasn't even gotten a match. His one match was US Open Cup, and I just talked about that. So anyways, but yes, to your point, and it was said in the chat too, not one coach since the franchise begun has done anything about growing youth players into the professional level, and coaches have always been the issue in the last 6 years. Fidel, I 100% agree with you, and that has been my biggest frustration, because Tab Ramos was supposed to be that guy. He was a guy coming from a youth system that understood how you develop youth players. Then Paulo Nagamura is a guy coming from a youth system. He's supposed to understand and be able to help you develop youth players, because he came from USL, SKC2, if you will, whatever, Swope Park Rangers. Go ahead.
But the problem is that, they could, yes, they have the pedigree of growing youth players from, obviously the U.S. national team and Sporting Kansas City, whatever. But they're coming into a situation where they have to win now on the first team. It's one of those things where the priorities are kind of shifted, because the new ownership group want to make an instant impact, which look, I understand. I understand, obviously, that this is not just obviously a sporting club. This is a business club. This is a business model. And obviously you have to make money off of this club. For the owner to keep investing in it and things of that nature. And we've seen the ups and downs with the attendance. We've seen the hype beast go up, and we've seen it go to a dead silence this season, So the potential is there, and obviously Ted has seen it, and we've shown it to him, And like I mentioned earlier, winning cures all. And unfortunately for Tab and for Paulo, they might have just came into a situation where, they might have wanted to explore bringing in younger players from the academy and giving them minutes, but they never were able to give. They were never given a chance to, because of the way the games were dictated, the way the games were held, and obviously the lack of winning during the season doesn't give them the opportunity to do so either. And it comes sometimes to a point where as a coach, you never want to tell your players, well, that's it, we give up middle of the season, right? But I mean, but logically, you have to understand that, hey, it's gotten to a point where, look, man, yes, we're not mathematically out of the playoff contention, but let's be honest. If we haven't shown our best, we haven't shown our best soccer in week 28 of the season, we're probably not going to show it the next 6-7 weeks that are remaining. So let's start putting in some different players in, some younger players, things of that nature. I mean, look, you just mentioned a couple clubs earlier. Seattle Sounders is one that I always fixate on, because Seattle has been the model franchise in MLS since their inception in 2009. For them to field a team of 80% youth of their youth academy players earlier this season, it's an amazement. And to actually win that game, I mean, it just goes beyond, like, man, wow, and we can't even field one. Like, and this is why, like, we lose good prospects to either them going to college or them going to Mexico, or them going to some them trying to go get some trials overseas in whatever country they can get trials at. This is why we lose these prospects and these academy players, because it's a frustrating thing to be a kid. Let's say, for example, Marcelo Palomino, right? Marcelo Palomino had an opportunity in Portugal or in Spain. He tried out for teams out there, and then it didn't go his way. So he decided to come back to the Dynamo, whatever, and do this thing. And he had basically the world promised to him that he was going to be our franchise, our future, XYZ. Dino Dos gets created, the reserve league. He's killing that. We send him out on loan to the USL. He kills that. He does everything. He's done everything done to prove to the franchise that he belongs on the first team. And yes, he gets picked on the 18, but he sits on the bench and wastes away when we allow players like, with all the respect, players like Corey Bird, Memo Rodriguez.
Yeah, I was going to say.
An infinity amount of opportunity when these players might not be here with us next season.
And make no mistake, Palomino can play the same position that Memo has played in the last 6 or 7 games.
And that's what I'm saying. You got players like Juan Casillas, that obviously he's another player who's been, mentioned as far as, the next the future of the Dynamo.
Up and coming.
Danny Rios, for some reason, I mean, he's played more games for the national team in El Salvador than he's done for the Dynamo, it's mind-boggling. Like, this kid has played international matches against countries the likes of and South America. Why he can't get on the pitch for a couple of minutes for the Dynamo? Like, and plus you're feeding to one of your major fan bases that you're still trying to keep around, the Salvadorian fan base. So I mean, it's just mind-boggling how we can't even get one player on the pitch for a couple minutes, for 10-15 minutes. We keep throwing out the same bag of doo-doo out there, and we keep getting the same results, and then we're wondering why we keep ending up in the same predicament, the bottom of the table. And honestly, it's like, dude, we deserve the results that we're getting, because that's what we're aiming to get. It has nothing to do with the lack of coaching, as far as like whether Tab is a bad coach or Paulo was a bad coach. I don't think it has anything to do with that. I think the fact is just that their main objective is to win with the first team and do that now and not worry about anything else, because obviously winning solves everything. But this is not a quick fix. This was never going to be a quick fix. We understood the big ass hole that the prior ownership dug us and threw us in. Like, we're not 6 feet deep. We're like 18 feet deep right now, and it's a deep ass hole. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. No, I definitely, there's definitely parts of that I agree with. I disagree. I think I disagree with Paulo not being a bad coach or a terrible coach. I think Kenny hit the nail on the head. The problem is these dudes suck as coaches. I'm going to say that. I don't I don't think they suck as coaches. I think the position that they were put in was also not fair.
There's a difference between coaching youth players and the professional players.
Yes. The expectation of what they were going to bring to the club was too much for who they were and where they were coming from. And then I think Kenny hits the nail on the head, though, with the next part of this statement. So they decide they have to lean on experienced players to try to get them results because that's the only way they can keep the job. Yeah. And I think there is maybe a little bit of truth in the mindset part of that and referring to the coaches, but it doesn't matter to me as a fan. I know that sounds absolutely crazy. I've said this multiple times, though. I would rather us have a crappy 1 or 2 seasons in a row if it meant that we knew our academy players would be in a position in 2 years or 3 years and we would be competing every season for MLS Cups. But the fact is we're not anywhere close to that right now. I mean, this is a travesty is how bad it is.
There's no plan in place. Like, great. The academy is a lot better than what it was 5 years ago. Great. But who's coming out of there? Like who? Like, even the ones that we thought, was going to be like, we're going to be like the guys, whether it be Palomino, Castillas, shout out to Brooklyn Reigns. Cause man, that's the one that we've been chomping on, and congratulations to him for making a first team appearance, because, this is like the Willy Wonka golden ticket. If you find one of those, man, make sure you hold on to that shit because, you're not going to find that anywhere else. But like, there's no plan in place. Like, I understand that tunnel vision is, hey, we want to compete for MLS playoffs. And that's great. Like, trust me, that should always be the main objective as the first team. But dude, we've had 8 years of sucking as a professional squad. Like unless you just brought in X amount of number of players with a lot of experience and know how to play the actual game and have a high level of quality as players, I didn't think this was going to be a turnaround. Like I said, I understood at the beginning of the season, they were like, hey, we're aiming for playoffs. They signed Sebas Ferreira. Hector Herrera signed. So it was like, oh, cool. They're aiming for playoffs. But even if they were aiming for playoffs, my realistically thought about it was, oh, we're probably going to end up being the 6th or 7th seed, which okay, cool. It's progression, right? But still, I mean, we're still nowhere near where we need to be. And now fast forward to today, we sure as hell are nowhere near where we need to be as far as an MLS franchise. So if we can't do nothing about the MLS franchise at this moment, because obviously we're not in no transfer window, we can't bring in no players or whatever, then let's focus on the academy. Let's focus on those players that are on the cusp. Let's see what they bring to the table, because those players we do control, we can give those players contracts. We can swap back and forth. Let's do that, shout out, like I said, shout out to the players in the first team who've done a great job and gone through the struggle. But I mean, take a step back, relax, get ready for next season, do what you got to do to get better and all that stuff. But look, I don't need to see Steve Clark and goal no more. Bring me Xavi Valdez. I don't need to see Memo Rodriguez or Corey Bird anymore. I want to see Palomino. I want to see more Beto Avila. Bring me those guys. That's what I want to see these last 7 games. I don't care if we look. I'd rather lose the last 7 games of the Dynamo season with these young guys than lose all these games again with the same squad that we've been running out there of, Palomino, Bear, Vera, Parker.
You said Palomino, but you didn't mean it.
I'm sorry. Yeah. I said Parker. Sorry.
Yeah. I was like, Palomino would play. What you talking about?
But if we're gonna lose these last couple of weeks, look, might as well lose it with the youth squad out there gaining experience.
Yeah.
Than losing it with players who don't give a shit and probably not gonna be here next season.
So let's talk about what is feasible from a rules and regulation perspective around the youth players and which players we can call up now and which ones we can't. So Maples, Mikhail, however you want to pronounce his name, aka Da Silva, not Palomino, the other Reigns. All three of them were just on short-term loans. Those short-term loans are typically just anywhere from 4 to 6 days. So they're already back with Dos. They're not going to be available for another short-term loan until the end of the Dynados season. Once that Dynados season is over, those players are eligible to be called back up. The one thing I would say about Mikael, I don't think he's on a green card, and we don't have an international slot, so it would have to be a loan. And we could loan, that is a possibility, but there's a lot of moving parts around the number of short-term loans you're allowed for the season in MLS. I want to say it's somewhere between 4 to 6, and we're already at number 4, I think, for the season already. Palomino is available because he's a homegrown player. Castillas is available because he's a homegrown player. Players like LaFleur and Jacob Evans and Rios would be available, but Jacob Evans and LaFleur not going to be available. Papa Ndoye not going to be available. Rios would be. Trying to think of anybody else. Juarez would be available because he would be a homegrown.
But Sean, regardless of the fact, I mean, you named like 5 players that are available.
Correct.
I need to see those guys in the match day 18 next week. I mean, this upcoming week.
So that brings me to the thing I wanted to talk about, which is looking at the end of this season. There is something valuable for Dynados to still play for, and I think there is something important to keep in mind too, is there is value in your young players getting minutes in a situation like a playoffs that they're definitely not going to get with the Dynamo Senior Club this year for sure. And yes, it's a little different when you're playing development players versus playing MLS players. But if they're in a situation of pressure and they're in a situation where they can kind of experience that high level, in a playoff atmosphere, even if it's just 1 or 2 matches, you're still going to have the possibility of bringing them in, for a match or two. I just wanted to bring that up because I am curious, and this is more for chat because I already know your opinion, Mark. But for chat, in all reality, are you willing to sacrifice the Dynados playoff run to bring up those 5 players that I mentioned, those 4 players that I mentioned that are on homegrown contracts? Castillas, Palomino, Juarez. I didn't mention Valdez, but Rios, and then there's another one that I can't remember off the top of my head either. But roughly 5 homegrown players that could be called up.
I mean, look, man, would it be nice to win the inaugural MLS Next Cup or whatever they call that thing? Yeah, and it'd be a cool thing to throw up on the.
I'm not talking about winning it. I don't care about winning it. Winning it doesn't matter.
But regardless of the fact, I mean, look, do we have a capable team of doing it? Yeah, I mean, look, Dynados have been doing fantastic the whole season. So why would they be one of the top contenders to win the league or whatever, or the cup or whatever they call it, would it be nice? Great. Yes, it would be. It'd be something cool to have, obviously be a franchise with the first reserve league title, blah, blah, blah. But like you mentioned earlier, to be in a playoff situation, whatever, yeah, that's cool against other players that are kind of on the same level as you. Cool, but would I rather than be playing against a team that's fighting for playoff positioning, and given that they're all there and showing me what kind of skills they have against a squad that's fighting for everything in playoff positioning? I'd rather see that, I'd rather those players get that type of experience, because they've had the whole season already playing against those teams, and I want to see them up their level and play against professional players.
Let me play devil's advocate. What if part of the problem, I'm saying part of the problem, not saying all of it, because I don't want people to jump on me and say, oh, well, you said it was coach. It's not just coach. I've always said players are a big problem too. What if, though, part of the problem with this club right now, or at least the senior team, is the fact that there is some toxicity in that locker room? What if there are some players that are cancer players, that are the players that they create, mental issues? Now, let me finish, Mark. Let me finish.
Yeah.
The reason I bring this up is you've got kids right now that have a winning mentality. They have proven they have a winning culture at Dynados. They have proven that they understand how to get the most out of each other. They have proven that they understand how to play together. I'm, again, playing devil's advocate. I'm not saying this is the case, but they've proven all these things. If you bring them up you are in a position where you may potentially break what you have already built with those 5 players in particular down at Dynados. Now, the flip side of that, the part that you'll probably bring up, isn't that exactly what the Dynamo need right now at the senior level? Don't they need that kind of winning culture, that kind of winning attitude? But my question is, do the veteran players that are instilled within the Dynamo senior team right now, the ones that probably aren't going to be here next year, are they going to just listen to a young kid that's coming up, regardless of the fact they've been winning? Are they going to be willing to accept that? Or are they just going to shun it, and then that kid has that kind of a reality check where, oh, this is what it's actually like. Now I got to be that, I got to grind all over again, to get to this spot.
So I have two ways of combating what you're saying, and obviously I know you're playing devil's advocate, so
yeah.
I'm not going to go too hard onto you about it. But so first and foremost, that's why Kenny Bundy's the interim coach. Hey, he understands the type of players he's going to bring up. He understands their attitude and all stuff like that, and he's the head coach. Whoever's bringing toxicity or whatever you don't like to see, they train by themselves. You move them far away from the first team, they go train by themselves, or hey, you know what, your vacation started early, or you know what, hey, thanks for playing for the Dynamo. Hey, we'll see, better luck in your future endeavors. That's the one benefit about having a sorry club that that's not making playoffs. That hey, if a player doesn't want to be part of the culture or whatever's going on, cool. You know what? Your check will still come in the mail or direct deposit or whatever, however way you get your check. We'll see you later. Second, like there is no culture. Toxicity. What that you can't negatively influence anything that's already negative in that clubhouse. It can't get any worse. And like I said.
It absolutely can get worse.
If somebody is trying to be a dick for lack of a better term about something or whatever, or let's say somebody tries to blow up a storm because, hey, I'm playing for my next contract. Why are you playing this kid? Well, shit, you had the whole season to play for your contract for next year, and you decided to not give a shit and not do anything about it. So, I'm going to give this kid a chance because he's my future, and I'm trying to see this. So if you want to go play for a contract or whatever for next season for whoever, hey, go train and go work on your skills, go work on your passing skills, go work on your crossing skills, go work on whatever skills you feel necessary to take you to the next level, but you're going to do that separately from the first team. Look, I mean, all clubs do this. There is no club in the world that has 100% happy players. You can be the Champions League winners. You can be a treble-winning team in Europe, whatever. Even that club doesn't have 100% happy players because there's players that want to play that aren't playing. There's players that don't feel important, that don't feel wanted, that don't feel needed, and things of that nature. And what do you do those past? You banish them. Hey, don't worry about it, man. Your money's still going to come still going to hit your bank account. We'll see you when we see you.
I think that's a fair take. I think it's an interesting position that, Kenny Bundy's in. There are a lot of things to consider. I don't think it's fair to, if he does or does not call up the youth players, I don't think it's fair to judge him on that, over these 5 matches. And I know you're not saying that. I'm just saying this is more for everybody else.
But what I'm saying is, like, look, I think that's one of the reasons why Bundy got the interim job, because they could have gone a number of different ways. I mean, they didn't have to interrupt what Dynados is doing or what Kenny's doing, right? But I think they did this purposely because they want to see some of these kids up in the first team, and they want those kids to have a voice that they're familiar with, that has an understanding of what they can bring to the team, because obviously he's coached them. He knows what their limitations are, or where they're great at, or what position is best suited for them. So now you have somebody on those kids' side, because this is the coach. You play for this coach the whole year. If anybody knows you, it's this coach. So I mean, if let's say Palomino and Castillas and Valdez get called up, right? And he says, you know what, guys, you're good. Y'all are going in for SKC this weekend. Palomino, I need you to be over here. Casillas, I need you to play over here. And everybody's like, whoa, what's going on? That means you took out Coco, or you took out Memo, or you took out whoever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. The coach has faith in you because he's seen you the whole season play to a above average level. That's why Dynados is in the position they're in playoffs, So if the coach has that much faith in you and he's on your side backing you, then you're free to do well out there and enjoy your soccer and and go do whatever you can to make this team better and take full advantage of your opportunity.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I don't argue that point. Again, mostly just playing devil's advocate. But I do have to. Again, I think it's unfair because we don't know those conversations that are going on. But we are viewing it from the outside looking in. Again, nobody expected that Pat was going to fire Paulo, and as Pat said, it was his decision. So no matter what is said publicly, we know we can't trust that necessarily because Pat's already shown that what he says publicly is not going to jive with what is actually the case, right? So I say that
a politically correct statement.
Yeah, I mean, well, he's saving face for his coach, and he's doing politically speaking, diplomatically speaking, what you do. But my point being, while we believe that these things are the case purely based off what's been said and kind of our expectations, our understanding of the situation, that's not necessarily a guarantee that is the case, right? And we know that because we've seen it, in other ways too. But, it's, I just don't want people to get into a situation where the expectation is, all right, we're going to see Palomino on Saturday. Well, we don't know that we're going to see Palomino on Saturday.
No. Yeah. And that's not what I'm trying to say here. Like I said, Paulo's is going to be the head coach, and he's going to try to do, because this is an opportunity for him too, right? I mean, we can't lose sight of that as well, because this is an opportunity for him, and I'm sure he's gonna try to throw his name into the hat for trying to be the next Dynamo coach, which with all means he should. I mean, if I was in his shoes, I would be trying to do the best job I can these next couple of weeks to show them why that their new coach is in house, But with that being said, I mean, obviously, there's things that, I mean, if I was Pat, and I'm going about like, who am I going to put in the interim basis, to obviously take this team, just to kind of hold this team together for the last couple of weeks, and if I'm thinking like Pat, I'm trying to kill two birds with one stone, and it's like, you know what, man, these kids in the Dynados are doing really well. I can put Bundy there. And if I call up some of these kids, or I tell Bundy to call up some of these kids will feel comfortable. Well, the pressure there'll be pressure, but not as much, because like I mentioned earlier, you'll have somebody on their side that's already seen them play, who knows what's best for them and knows how to play them to the best of their abilities and all that. So you kind of kill two birds with one stone. And on top of that, I mean, it's kind of a promotion for Bundy for showing him, giving gratitude to him for the great job that he did with Dynados. So I mean, it's kind of killing two birds with one stone. I think it's the best way. I think he went the right direction with getting Bundy into that position. But like I said, we'll see what happens. I'm not expecting all of a sudden this Saturday, half the team is the youth players. Like, nah, that's not realistic.
Would you be upset if they were though?
Oh no! Obviously, I wouldn't be. But I mean, I've been calling for this for the last month and a half. You've been on the show with me, Sean.
I feel you.
So I mean, I've been playing a youth ever since we got destroyed by Philadelphia. So it's one of those things where, like, man, and Philadelphia game was almost 6 weeks ago.
Yep, we've only had 2 shows since then, though. So
yeah. But yeah, man. I mean, but so Sean, let's get to the juicy part, man. Like, because I mean, obviously it's one thing about being a fan and having this much passion and love for your club, and you thinking that what's best for the club, and if you bring in this person, they will turn everything around and X, Y, Z. So I know you got a couple of names you want to mention as far as head coaching candidates and why you want to bring them in, whatever. So, I know I got a couple of guys. So, let's go down a couple of your guys. Let's, you go first, and then I'll go, and then whatever.
All right.
And and tell me why this guy, and like, what do you think what are the positives that he brings, and how do you think he'll fit into this Dynamo culture that we're trying to establish?
All right, so I'll give you my number one. We'll start with our number ones. My number one, everybody knows who this is. Like, you guys, if you don't know who I'm about to say, I will be sad because you have not watched the show enough.
Let's give the people in chat like maybe 2 or 3 seconds to type in who they think it is.
Yeah, tell me who I'm about to say because I know you're going to be right. Yeah, so I'm not going to say the name yet, but I will explain why I think this guy is the right guy for this position right now. Number one, understands MLS. Number two, understands internationally the idea of developing players. Number three, has an international pedigree. Number four, has proven it at multiple levels across multiple different teams, across multiple different leagues, and at different levels. So, and finally, he's almost guaranteed to be available once the World Cup is done.
Almost guaranteed. That's like an oxymoron.
Well, I can't 100% guarantee it because anything is possible. But if you ring his phone now and you say, hey, ain't nobody watching anymore because nobody's commented yet. I mean, y'all are killing me, Smalls. But in all seriousness, you ring that phone and you say, hey, guy, look, we got an opening. We know we've got an opening. We think you'd be a great fit. Tell us your number. That's the phone call that you need to have with this guy. And then I think you need to pull hold on. Have you seen and I'm going to just throw this out there. Have you seen the Welcome to Wrexham show yet?
No, I'm waiting for it to all come out so I can binge it.
You need to watch it. You can see it on Hulu.
I know.
You need to watch it. And the only reason I say that is there's a couple of moments in the third episode, maybe the second episode, where they put a full court press basically on a particular person that they wanted to recruit. Actually, they did it twice. They did it once for coach and once for star player. Sure. And but it wasn't like just okay. The first contact was not with the owners, but it was it was with the agent. And when they put the feelers out, the agent rebuffed and said, oh no, that he's not interested. But the funny thing is when the owner calls and he tries to set up just a call with it. He takes the call and they sit on the phone for an hour and a half and they talk vision. They probably don't even talk money amounts. They talk vision. They talk, they talk plans. They talk plans. They talk why they want this guy. And by the end of that call, that coach was bought in. That coach was like, I'm all right. We'll talk. We got some more, I got to work with my agent to figure some things out. But, I'm definitely not saying no anymore. And then, sure enough, they were able to get that guy in. Yeah,
right, don't no more spoilers.
I'm not. I'm just saying. I mean, come on. Go Google Wrexham. Wrexham AFC is all you need to do.
So tell me why Tata should be a.
That's right, Tata. Thank you. Yes, Tata Martino. I already said why I think he should be great. Why he would be great because he fits. He checks all the boxes across the board at every level for everything you want in a head coach for your Dynamo. Look, you've got a young player in Sebas Ferreira, and you've got another young player in Thor Ulfarsson that fit the type of players that I guarantee you Tata would absolutely salivate to have a chance to coach at their ages right now. You have an older player, but a player who's experienced at a position that you'd want an experienced player in Ache. And you've got so much flexibility that Tata Martino can work with Pat and Asher to pinpoint guys that he wants from not only around MLS, but internationally to bring in not only just on actual full contracts, but players to bring in on loans that you can then turn into, buy options later if they pan out. Look, this is the guy that understands all the mechanisms that are in MLS.
For sure.
That's my number one.
As of today, what percentage do you think your Dynamo have to actually achieve a Tata Martino?
If they go through the process that I said,
if we're being realistic, I mean, just as of right now. Now, I'm not saying look, hey, look, like I said, I'm sure Pat and then they're gonna call and all this stuff, whatever, and they're gonna have their talks, whatever. But as of right now, what do you think is the possibility of a Tata Martino choosing a Dynamo over, let's say, a European club or whatever?
If the Dynamo, if Pat and Asher, if Ted specifically actually call or reach out to Tata and his agent, if they try to actually go through the effort of actually recruiting versus making the guy apply for the position, right? if you do it that way and you say, we respect you enough, we believe that you're the guy enough that we're going to take the effort, we're going to take the ambition to reach out to you, then I think there's probably better than an 80% chance you could land a Tata Martino over a European club, because this is a league that he has had success in. And if the team owner and the GM are willing to go through that effort to call you or reach out to you and talk to you about what their vision and their plan is as a person in any level, in any organization, in any business. If I was recruited at that level by a CEO of another company for my real life job, I guarantee you that at least I would listen to that offer. And it would be hard for me to pass up that offer, even if I have opportunities in Europe. Because again, it's a place I'm comfortable with. And coming off the situation he's in right now, he's not comfortable. So give him that comfort level back.
Yeah, I mean, I understand. I mean, being the Mexican national head coach is a tough gig, because there's so much pressure there's so much pressure for that nation to do something that's never been done before, and that's playing that 5th World Cup game. But yeah, man, I mean, trust me, I'm on that ship with you, Sean. If they can get Tata Martino, that would be the coup of all coups, to be honest, with the names available that are out there. I mean, look. Do I believe like a Thomas Tuchel will come over here? No, I mean, come on. You know,
Thomas Tuchel, to be honest?
Yeah, like a Pochettino, like those names. Like, come on.
How come you take him on number 2? Come on.
Let's just try to be realistic a little bit,
Yeah, I hear you.
But the fact of the matter is, like you said, Tata Martino has MLS experience. He won everything, when he was with Atlanta United, so he understands how to get it done. He has a pedigree. He has he'll have respectability. He will command respect as soon as he walks into those doors, because of the players he's coached and the teams he's coached, and obviously the resume he brings in. I mean, Champions League. You're talking about Copa America, Gold Cups, Club World Cups. I mean, he's in any big stage you can name, he's coached in it. So, big teams like Argentina, Paraguay, Mexico, obviously Barcelona, things like that. So he's coached the best of the best, man. So, I mean, what player could ever just, not really trust him as a coach? Because, I mean, he's done it anywhere and everywhere he's gone to. So, yeah, he would most definitely be my number 1 candidate. I'm right there with you. Me, I'm going to bring up, well, like I said, Tata is my number 1 candidate as well. But, just to be different from you, obviously the name that I'm going to bring up is a name that I've mentioned prior. And this is a name that I've mentioned a couple of times, especially the last 2 hiring processes. And that's Antonio Mohamed. Obviously, he's winning pedigree. He has coached in Liga MX. He's coached in La Liga with Celta Vigo. He's won and Liga MX with Club America, winning a title. He's won CONCACAF Champions League with Monterrey when he was during his time in Monterrey. And he has an attacking style of play, which numerous amount of times Pat has said, we want an attractive style of play. We want to be proactive on the pitch. We don't want to be reactive. We want to control the tempo of the game, and that's what his style of play brings. So right now he's sitting on the couch chilling. So you can bring him in tomorrow. Ted, send the jet, send the PJ over to where Antonio's at, and bring him in. Let's have a talk.
I mean, you say that, but so is Mauricio Pochettino. So
well, yeah, but I mean, I'm just being a little bit more realistic, Pochettino, I mean, obviously, hey, he might end up coaching Chelsea here, or he might end up coaching Leicester City. We don't know. But like, Antonio Mohamed, like I said, he understands what winning in this region takes. Obviously, like I said, he's won the domestic title in the Liga MX. He's won the continental title for this region, being the CONCACAF Champions League. He's coached and won in La Liga. So, I mean, he understands winning. He understands playing. Obviously, him being a former player himself, he understands from the player perspective as well. So I think he's somebody that would demand a lot of respect and has a lot of pedigree and has a really good resume. And I think he would bring in he would attract a lot of players to the Dynamo.
Yeah, I certainly agree on Antonio Mohamed. That would be a a coach that I certainly would be able to get behind, and one I would not be even remotely upset to see walk through those doors.
Hey, Sean, somebody said Lucci, but Lucci signed with San Jose Earthquake.
Yep. That's what I said. I thought he was spoken for. Yeah, so number 2, I know you think it's impossible or improbable, but I'm actually gonna go Mauricio Pochettino, and here's why. Look, you guys know the accolades, you know my connection with Mauricio Pochettino, so I don't need to go there. But the reason why this is feasible is because this is the first time we've had an owner with true ambition, the first time we've had a GM that is in a position where you win and you keep your job. You lose and you might as well be shown the damn door because you're walking out. Like, this is a situation where realistically there should be no coach off the table except a coach like a Jurgen Klopp, who honestly is probably going to be available not too much longer from now. But another coach, shut up, Mark. Another, there are other coaches, like Tuchel, again, I still think out of the realm of possibility, but Mauricio Pochettino, look, he didn't have a job offer. He didn't have a possibility. Or no, he did. He was with PSG, but then PSG showed him the door and he couldn't find anywhere else to go. So he's got nowhere, right? And the guy would be honestly out. He would need an MLS assistant. And I don't think that's an issue either. But I come back to, I don't think we should be in that mindset of, oh, well, those names have to be off the board. I mean, we've seen coaches come here that Frank into MLS and we have to, given the ambition that the owner has already stated that he has, and the ambition that is clear based off this firing, these guys aren't going to be settling for an MLS coach. They're just not.
No, look, you have to have ambition, and I'm not saying that, hey, don't throw out a filler or don't, hey, let's send a let's.
Let me ask you a genuine question, because I agree with that. But let me ask you a genuine question. If it was announced in Thanksgiving, the week after Thanksgiving, so like the first week of December, if it was announced that Pochettino was coming to the Dynamo, well, I mean, legitimately, you'd be okay with that, right?
Look, I mean, aside from the fact of of him being a former Spurs coach or whatever, all that crap, whatever, but there's levels to this. There's levels to these things, right?
Sure.
It's one of those things where, like, when David Beckham came to MLS, right? Like, like everybody was like, what the fuck? Like when Terry Henry came in, it's like, wait a second, like, what's going on here? There's always has to be that first club to actually do it, right? To start, like, oh my God, because I mean, like, look, this is one of the problems that Liga MX has, right? They have a bunch of retreads where they just keep retreading coaches around, to different clubs in the same league and stuff like that, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So you see the same coaches, just a different club every year. And I don't think MLS wants to do anything like that and be a bunch of retreads, obviously, right? So they're obviously going to bring in coaches from different countries, different mindsets. Obviously, they're going to hire from within with MLS assistants being promoted to other clubs, depending on how they view it. But, if whenever they announce that Pochettino is coming to the Dynamo, oh yeah, that would cause waves, because now you have somebody who, the thing about that, a coach like that with that kind of prestige, and that was right there with a Pochettino.
Oh, absolutely, 100%.
So I mean, and that's why I think he's our number one, right? Because we know that he doesn't come in here to bullshit. He has his style. He knows what he wants to play. He knows the type of players he wants, and he knows how he's going to get it done. He has a step. He has a 4-step program. It's not these, oh, I'm going to play this player to see how he plays. Oh, I'm going to play him over here to see how he does over here. No, he knows the type of player he wants, the type of player he needs, and what kind of philosophy he has to be able to bring winning culture to whatever club he goes to. And like I said, I mean, obviously that would cause waves, but I would give it less than a 2% chance for a Pochettino to come to the Dynamo.
Oh, I'm not saying the chance is high. Don't get me wrong. That's not on my mind.
No, I got you.
But he's my number 2. There was one other reason that hasn't come up that nobody's really thought about. Pochettino, when he coached Spurs, Number one, he coached Spurs. Who's another coach that coached Spurs that's within this Dynamo / Dash organization? No, hold up. You say hold on. But there's a connection there. And I know that, look, JC ain't going to be calling him up and saying, yo, we got a history. But there's a connection there. There's a network there. Why not at least try to tap into it? At least say, hey, JCA, you got some experience with these Spurs people. Let's talk a little bit. Hold up, I'm not done yet. So the other reason why I actually think he'd be a good fit, obviously besides being a world-class coach, but the reason I think he'd be a good fit is even with Spurs, he played the youth a lot. He was not opposed to playing guys like Japhet Tanganga, who's now not a starter, but he's playing. Guys like Davis, who nobody thought that he should be playing left back, and he was one of the better players at the time at left back. And there were plenty of other youngsters. Dele Alli was another player that he played a lot. Played young players consistently, and so he's a coach that's proven that he can help young players come along. And if you could do that at the highest level, then there's no doubt you can do that in the MLS level, right? So that's another reason why I say Pochettino. That's why he's my number 2. Again, why Tata's my number 1 because he's done it in MLS, but Poch is my 1B, if you will, at that point.
I got you. So I'm gonna go a little bit out of the ordinary as far as some of the names that have been thrown out. I know a lot of people are throwing out names like Matias Almeida and things of that nature. But I'm gonna go with a coach and that y'all might not remember or might not be too familiar with. But when I tell you what he did, then y'all be like, oh yeah, that guy, Dominique Torrent.
Oh yeah.
Dominic Torrent, for those who don't remember or recall him, coached New York City FC. Obviously the first winning coach over there. He used to be an assistant coach for Pep Guardiola, so he's under that Pep Guardiola coaching tree. So obviously what kind of style and philosophy he's going to bring to the table. Obviously he coached being assistant in Barcelona, Bayern, Man City, and obviously being the head coach at New York FC. He last coached at Galatasaray and the Turkish League. So he's coached in big places, big clubs, all that good stuff. And he has MLS experience. So, and he's not that big name because obviously, he's not he's not Pep Guardiola, right? But he's under that tree and he understands MLS, especially coming from New York City FC and doing that whole thing after coaching coming. I think he coached after Patrick Vieira left New York City FC. So, he's a guy who I find really intriguing and somebody who the Dynamo can realistically go out there and get. This is a coach that I feel that, if they if they called up the agent will call him right back, and they can sit down and talk and they can hash out a contract like that. Now, is that what I want as far as the hiring process? No, I want them to fill out other players, other coaches, and see what kind of, what kind of quality of coaches out there that you can bring in, right? But if Dominique Torrent was the coach to be named later on, and me personally, I wouldn't be. Oh man, because I think I understand the type of coach he is, and obviously the playing style. Now, does he have that pedigree of being able to bring in players? That's something we'll have to wait and see. Obviously Tata Martino or Pochettino, like you mentioned, Sean has a pedigree where they coach so many high level players that they can call up somebody, be like, hey man, why don't you come over here and come play with me again? And this and that. And
you already forgetting about Antonio Mohamed? You already forgetting?
What do you mean?
You only said Poch and Tata. You didn't say Mohamed. That's why I'm asking.
No, yes, I did.
No, you did not. That's what I'm saying.
Before you said Poch, you said
no. I'm not talking about this. I'm talking about you said Tata and Poch have that ability to pull players. Well, Mohamed has ability to pull players.
He does as well. But
that's what I was talking about. That's what.
I'm listing the pros for Dominic, and I feel like one of the cons for him would be like maybe he doesn't have the same pull as a Tata or a Pochettino, or as an Antonio Mohamed, because they've been the number one guy in their respective positions. As Dominic has been the number 2 guy. for the most part, and in big clubs, huge clubs. But it's a difference between the number one guy and the number two guy.
Yeah.
So, like I said, guys, I mean, it's a lot of names out there, man, and it's exciting, even though we have to go through another shitty season, another obviously couple months of speculations or whatever. But I mean, just to think about the possibilities and the names out there, and it's funny because I think on I forgot on who was interviewing him or who asked him the question about has he talked to Tata Martino or Marcelo Bielsa?
Yeah,
and he's like, no, look, we just made the decision not too long ago. Yes, I mean, they would be elated to have conversations with those coaches, and this and that, but until we get to that point, as of right now, I can't say anything on as far as they go. But I mean, but it's good to it's good to see that Pat has an open mind about things like that.
I can see you looking down at your screen. I saw that. So you look at that screen.
Yeah. If you can have an open mind about things like that, because sometimes, even though like I said, Pochettino is a less than 2% chance happening, right?
Yep.
But somehow they pulled out Pochettino out of their ass. Hey, I'll eat all the crow you want me to eat, man, because it's like, dude, like, I mean, look, I mean, we just discussed. I didn't expect them to fire Nagamura until the end of the season, and look what they did.
That's the thing that I think is so hard to grasp as a Dynamo fan who's been a fan for so long of this team during all these slim years, and really, since the inception of the club.
Sorry to interrupt. 1-0 Orlando City.
That's why I said you were looking at your screen. I thought you were looking at your screen. Oh, okay. Well, anyways. But I think it's so hard to, I wouldn't say accept, but it's so hard to grasp the level of commitment that this owner has for this club. Look, yes, okay. Ted gave gave the authority and the responsibility to Pat to make the decision, but I guarantee you, Pat had a conversation with Ted that basically said, Ted, is it okay if we do this now? Because the last 5 weeks of the season don't mean anything, from this perspective. Ted wants to win. He doesn't want to have a mediocre team. And we've never, not even when we had AEG, we've never had a coach in this market, with an MLS club or even the NWSL club that had that level of ambition, that had that level of commitment to the team and the club. And to me as a fan, that is the most uplifting and encouraging thing from this firing that could possibly come from it.
I think the good thing about here, the positive thing about Ted and the new ownership, and the fact that we should be thankful that he bought into the Dynamo, into the city of Houston and things like that, is because he understands the sleepy giant that he has here in front of him. He understands, like, if I can get this club into MLS contention, into battling for MLS Cup titles year in, year out, CONCACAF Champions League, whatever, making this fan base believe in the Dynamo and seeing Dynamo Orange out there in the streets of Houston, he knows he has huge financial gains just to available to him, because you don't put in the amount of money he put in to purchase the club, to purchase the building over there next to the Dynamo Stadium, so that way the front office can have offices to operate out of, instead of being at George R. Brown. You don't make those type of moves without wanting to get something in return. I've never met a businessman who has a lot of money and is just willing to, hey, here's this money. Don't ever worry about giving it back to me. Like, nah, that's not how they work.
Yeah,
that's not how they operate.
He's spending money. He's spending money to upgrade the infrastructure of the club, to upgrade. You could even say to upgrade, the culture of the club. He spent money to upgrade the culture, not the culture, but the infrastructure of the stadium. He's spending money to upgrade, effectively to upgrade the culture of, or not culture, but to upgrade the coach. What a tackle. Holy crap.
Yeah, I mean, you have to understand that.
But I think he just awarded a PK. Screw that ref.
But you have to understand that. Look, representation about how your club is represented means everything.
Absolutely.
And if you're going into a meeting to go pitch a high end player or a top level quality player that's available, and you walk in there with a Tata Martino, somebody who's coached Lionel Messi, who's coached Kun Agüeros, who's coached Luis Suarez's, who's coached Hector Herrera's, who's coached big time players like that, they start to listen to you. Those type of players start listening. They start being more intrigued. Like I said, like the fact that they were able to pull Hector Herrera from Europe into coming to the Dynamo, that's an amazing feat in itself, in my opinion, to be honest, because there's nothing here.
Yeah.
Realistically speaking, Sean, aside from letting him know that you've been to Houston as a Mexico national team player, you see how responsive those fans are to you and your national team. Why not come do that every week as a player for the Dynamo? Aside from that, you didn't have anything else to sell them. You weren't selling a winning culture. You weren't selling a club that's worthy of championships. Nothing. I mean, you're selling him on potential. Yep. And luckily for us, and maybe for him too, he's at a fork in his career where, yeah, you know what, I'm willing to take this path. Whereas like players like that've come in before, like your David Beckhams or whatever, or your Robbie Keanes, or your Terry Henrys, or whoever, they came in because look, this is where the most money was available. And plus, it's a big market. It was Los Angeles. It was New York. Obviously, those are global cities, even though Houston is a global city, but not to the stature of Los Angeles and New York. You got them. So now that you got that and you lay that down, you got to keep building upon that.
Yep, absolutely, 100% agreed.
Looks like Orlando City's winning this.
Yeah, I see that 2-0. So who your second was Tarrant?
Dominique Terrain, not Toretto.
Yeah, Terrain. Yeah. He's not family, huh?
He's not. That's who knows? He might be family.
If he's the coach, he's family now.
He is family, right? Oh man, but I mean, like, dude, it's crazy, man. I mean, look, it's a start of anytime you bring in a new coach, and obviously we've been through this carousel the last. Two out of the last 3 years, but man, now that we're going to it a third time in the last, I guess now 4 years, it's like, dude, third time has to be a charm, and they have to get this right.
Yeah, like, absolutely.
Because if this hire is not right, I mean, like, honestly, dude, like we're probably talking Pat out, aren't we?
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
As much as we love and respect Pat, and he's a Dynamo legend forever, it's you have to do well in your job to keep it.
He's basically said as much. He said this is on me. He goes, this is, we're gonna get this right, and I'm gonna do everything I can to get it right. But he definitely said it was on him. So that's that's important to keep in mind. We only have about 13 minutes left in the show. Where has the show gone? Lots of talk about coach, and that's not really surprising. But with less than 15 minutes to go, 13 minutes, do you want to do a little prediction?
Let's do it.
All right.
We still have games left, huh?
Yeah, we got 5 matches left. Dynados have a match coming up as well. Dash are off for international break. So that we don't have to worry about the Dash this week in terms of predictions.
Well, before we say we don't have to worry about the Dash, let's shout out to
I was getting there
for making their first playoffs, for qualifying for the first playoffs.
That's right.
And shout out to Ebony Solomon for winning back-to-back NWSL Player of the Month as well. So I mean, there's our little Dash talk. Even though they're international break, shout out to the ladies always.
And as a reminder, our prediction segment is now sponsored by Golasso.media. Make sure you guys check out Golasso.media. Go get your player likeness merch and gear, I guess is what we're calling it, player likeness. They've got the El Toro or El Zorro. It's El Zorro. El Zorro. They've got the El Salmon or La Salmon. I'm not sure which. They've got the La Bombi. They've got all sorts of other ones as well. El Cientifico something. Make sure you go check them out. They got some awesome gear, awesome merch. And get some stuff for yourself and enjoy looking good. That's what's always important. With that being said, let's do some predictions, Mark. Let's do Dynados first. Let's start with the positive. Dynados versus Colorado on Sunday evening.
The match here, right?
I think it's here. Yeah, I think it is here.
This is without me knowing where in the where Colorado's in the standings or anything, because I'm not even sure where the standings are for the Colorado Rapids too. But they're not in the playoffs. I think
They're not.
So with that being said, I feel like Dynados are the superior team, and obviously they're still fighting for playoff positioning because they qualified for it, but I think they still want to move up in those playoff standings to, I guess, hold more home field advantage. I don't even know how the reserve league playoffs are going to play out. Are they going to do the same thing as like one leg here, one leg over there? I'm not sure.
Well, we don't have home and away legs anymore, even in MLS playoffs. They've gotten rid of that entirely.
That's true.
So yeah, I think it's probably just one match, just like it is in MLS. But for your benefit, to help you with this prediction, Colorado Rapids or Colorado, whatever they're, Colorado 2, I guess. They are below the median line of the Western Conference. So if that helps you, helps your predictions at all.
So they're kind of like the Dynamo of the reserve league, maybe.
Pretty close, actually.
I'm gonna say 3-1 Dynados. 3-1 Dynados, just because those kids, I think like they're motivated to make sure they qualify for to have as many home games as they possibly can for the playoffs. And I think only like 1 or 2 points separates them from being the top seed, if I'm not mistaken. If last I looked on those standings for the playoffs, so they still have a lot to play for, and obviously with the home field advantage being out there for grabs, I'm pretty sure they're going to want to go all out for that. And this will be the first game without Kenny Bundy as the coach, right? So
yeah. His assistant at Dynados has actually been the one given the keys to the kingdom for the next a couple of matches for Dynados going into the playoffs. So it'll be interesting to see if the team plays any different. Probably not. They're probably going to play the same style. Stick with the one who brung you, as they say. But I'm going to go. Yeah, I like Dynados 3-1. But I'm going to reduce this down to a 2-1. For Dynados, and that's because I do think that we see some of those players that would normally feature for Dynados. We might see a couple of those, maybe 3 of those players, if they're able to make the move up for the remainder of this season. I think we see some of those, and that's going to disrupt Dynados even more. So I just think that'll be a little bit more of a struggle. But 2-1 is still a more than reasonable result. Importantly, they beat St. Louis City 2. Which is important because St. Louis, if I'm not mistaken, at that time were first in the Western Conference, or maybe that was Tacoma. No, it was St. Louis. Yeah. St. Louis was
I know it's St. Louis, Tacoma,
and North Texas.
Yep. Yeah.
And we got another match against North Texas to close out the season too.
Oh shit! Is that over there or over here?
I think it's over there. I don't think that's here. I don't think it's a rivalry one here.
Okay. Cool. So 3-1, 2-1.
Yep.
We just want to win for those guys. So let's go, Dynados.
So with that'll bring us to the SKC coming here to play Dynamo. It's at home, right? Yeah, it's at home. That's here. Yeah, that's here. On Saturday.
The Little Flip concert.
Yeah, that's right. Little Flip concert. That's right. Can the Dynamo do a little flip of their own? Hey, see the segue.
Hey, there you
go. Do a little flip of their own and surprise a very struggling SKC team with the coach that probably needs to be on his way out. Not gonna lie, in Peter Vermes. Maybe that's Paulo Nagamura's plan. I'm gonna come in and be the head coach for SKC now, with Peter Vermes ready to move on.
Or maybe Vermes has him on the sidelines.
Boy, that would be something. I would love to see that, and I would love to see if that happens. I would love to see Bundy start Marcelo Palomino and Palomino go off for a hat trick, and just after the third goal, just point at Paolo with a smile.
Just for the theatrics. I mean, I think we've been watching too many novelas.
Hey, I've said this before. Look, if the Dynamo want to have an identity, there is no greater team or no greater option right now than to become the villains of the league. Just do it. Just become the villains. Let's embrace the hate, you know?
There you go. I'll let you go first this time since I went first for the Dynados. What do you think?
I'm going to go, man, this is going to be this is going to be a very heavy proactive team. This is probably going to be a surprising lineup in a very positive way. I got a good feeling about this one because it's SKC who's on a slide worse than we were. And anytime you bring in a new coach, even if it's just an interim coach like this, any change like that is enough to shake things up. I think we see an inspired team. I think we see a team on the front foot from the very beginning. I think this is a 4-1 Dynamo victory.
Ooh, man. Shit. I thought you were going to say 2-1.
No, 4-1, man. 4-1. No, this is going to be... I think you're going to see defenders having to play out of their minds, and I think that, you know, I feel like this is an opportunity for full throttle football. That's exactly what I was going to say.
There you go.
Full throttle football.
I feel like G Money has he's finishing your sentences over here. He said 4-3.
Hey, look, we share a brain sometimes, but I'm okay with that. G knows what's up.
There you go. G said 4-3. Evan said 3-2. SK Dynamo winning by 1.
Yeah. So that's our predictions. Obviously, again, no dash to predict. But I figure since we have a couple of minutes left, maybe we should.
I didn't give my prediction.
Well, I thought you just gave your prediction. Sorry, you were just reading it off the thing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, my bad. Well, what's your prediction? I thought you said no. That's right. You were going to let me go first. That's right.
Sorry. Yeah. Man, it's tough because I understand what you're saying, where you're coming from about, like, obviously you shaking up the head, firing the head coach, then, kind of put everybody in check and just kind of maybe motivate players that didn't have no motivation because now they see maybe a pathway to kind of impressing the new person in charge and to try to getting onto the pitch, right? New hope, I guess, is what we would call this. Man, what can I say? Because, SKC suck, but somehow we end up sucking more for some reason. But, it's and I want to be positive. I want to be positive, and I'm going to be positive, all right? Because,
it's the time to be positive.
Yeah, because, we're going to have that concert afterwards, and it's going to be a good time. I'm going to go 2-0 Dynamo.
Hey, I would take that in a heartbeat.
Yeah, 2-0 Dynamo, and I'm going to say it's a Sebas brace because, I'm on the campaign trail for Sebas to score all the goals for Dynamo. We're on the road trying to get to 15 goals for Sebas, so before the season ends. So,
yeah, right. If I'm being positive, y'all got no reason to be negative. I'm just saying. So real quick, since we got just a couple of minutes left, I think I want to go here. I've been saving it, thinking about it, whether I want to talk about it. I was looking for Arsenal today in the UEFA Champions League results, and I didn't see them anywhere. I'm wondering what's up. Are they just not playing? What's going on?
We're over there looking on top of y'all on the Premier League table right now.
You're not though. You're not. No, you're not. Check that Premier League table right now, buddy. You are in third place.
We are not in third place.
Yeah, you are. Tottenham and Man City are tied for first. Arsenal are below them.
What do you mean?
Check that table.
Sean.
Check that table.
Sean.
Check that table.
Check the table, Sean.
I'm checking it right now.
Come on, Sean.
I must be giving them negative points for that loss against who did they lose to again?
It's okay. Man United. It's all right.
That's pretty hardcore to watch. Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Arsenal are still up there for one more match. Sorry, I'm thinking about tomorrow's match after they lose.
Exactly. Thank you. Anyway, so we're still sitting up high in the Premier League right now. It's all good, but Arsenal France couldn't do it, but it's all right. I mean, it is what it is. Enjoy the Champions League for what you can for right now because you're probably not making it next season. So enjoy it.
This coming from the club that hasn't made it in 3 seasons.
Hey, it's all right. It's what Y'all made it the last season, and y'all haven't done anything with it. So I mean,
I'm not arguing, but we did beat Marseille today, and it was actually a really terrible game until about the 60th minute, and then it started.
Yeah, Richarlison saved y'all.
Hey, Richie's been a hell of a signing. I'm not gonna lie, and I've said this on Twitter, and I'll say it here. Look, I like the look of Arsenal this season. I think that they're going in the right direction. I like a lot of their players. I like the style of play that they have. Yes, coming from a Spurs fan, I'm not bashing Arsenal for a change. But I will say this. The thing that I am very concerned about with Arsenal is you just lost to Manchester United, who admittedly have been playing a lot better of late. That is the first time you guys have played a Premier League club that was in the top 6 from last season. And your start to the season, it looks great on paper when you go 5-0, but when you go 5-0 against teams that were in the bottom half of the table from the season before, you got to look at that and go, okay, maybe I need to see what everything else is going to shake up like. But you guys have another 2 matches, I think, before you play Tottenham, and those next 2 matches, those are cakewalks for y'all. Y'all should be realistically, y'all should be 7-0-1 going into the Tottenham match.
At the end of the day, it's about collecting points, and that's what it is.
Agreed. And I'm not bashing Arsenal. I'm giving y'all credit.
No. I got you. Look, I mean, I watched the match. To be honest, I think Arsenal was the better team on that day. It's just 2 mistakes led to 2 goals, and then they scored another goal. So I mean, Manchester United took full advantage of the mistakes that Arsenal made, and they scored. But if you look at the entire game, you can't tell me that Arsenal was not the better team overall as far as pace and attacking and quality and possession. But like I said, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. That's soccer. You got to win at the end of the day, and we didn't win. So, but we'll see what happens, and we'll see you October 1st. It's gonna be North London Derby. So, but guys, obviously, we're coming to the end of the show. Fantastic show today, obviously, with the dismissal of Paulo Nagamura. There's sunshine to be had here in the future of the Dynamo. So let's be happy, guys. Let's let that little ray of sunlight, grow and grow. But with that being said, guys, obviously we're gonna hold it down for H-Town every time we come on. So.
Tu